Hello, welcome. This is day 5 of my 5-day challenge, Subtle Yoga for a Starter Back. Thank you so much for being here. And did you make it all the way through? If you did, congratulations. Give yourself some props and kudos to you because it's exciting when you show up for yourself. So welcome. If you're here, looks like a few folks are coming on. So if you're here, please leave a comment. We'll get started in about, it looks like we're right at 15 minutes. Let me double check that because I don't trust my clock. Yeah, my clock says 15, but actually I think it's 14 minutes technically. So we just have a few minutes before we're getting started. If you're watching the replay, you're welcome to forward maybe about 15 minutes or so till we start the practice. The practice tonight is going, or whenever you're watching this, the 5th practice is going to be a practice for the core. We'll talk about that in a few moments. I have a bunch of things I want to talk about first, but I see that folks are coming on. So if you are here, welcome. It's nice to have you. Happy that you're here. You may wish to get some props for practicing today. A mat is great if you have one. If you don't, just make sure you can be probably practice on a blanket, no problem for what we're doing today. You may wish to have a block. If you don't own a block, you could actually do this without a block, but like sometimes people will use books and like a hardcover book. I feel like they're a little too heavy. These are super light. So, but if you don't own a block, the other thing you could use today is one of those like small squishy kind of block balls, that they use at the gym. That would work too for what we're going to do. Okay, and maybe a blanket, that would be good too. Okay, so welcome. If you're here, please leave a comment. Let us know where you're coming in from. Thank you so much for being here live. I'm wearing my friend Wendy's new tie-dye. She just gave it to me. She was like, I'm making tie-dyes and I want to give you one. And I was like, woohoo, I'll go back to my Grateful Dead days. That sounds like fun. So I liked it so much, I'm giving a shout out to Wendy, who also makes terrific desserts and Ayurvedic food. So anyway, Wendy splits her time between a farm in Tennessee, so she's a few hours from me, and then a farm in Portugal. So she's in Portugal right now, and I won't see her for a while, but I remember her wearing her shirt. Okay, so I got a bunch of things to tell you. We got about 13 minutes before we get going. And it's the last day of the challenge. If you made it this far, congratulations. The time to sign up for the challenge is over. So if you did not sign up for the challenge, you may still be able to get the stick figures, but you're going to have to email us if you want them. So we closed it down. We always say no exceptions, but we're kind of soft and then we make exceptions. I hope you already signed up though. We'll be sending the stick figures probably on Monday. And also the other prize you're going to get, because everybody's a winner in the challenge. So we send you the five scripts of these practices, but then also you'll get a video. It's a YouTube video, 15-minute restorative yoga for your low back practice. So I hope you enjoy that. Those are yours to keep. And thank you for being a part of this. We were really delighted and overwhelmed by the reception that we had for this challenge, with more than 2,500 people signing up for it, and lots of, we've had a lot of really, really positive feedback. So I'm very touched and honored, and I'm glad you're finding these practices useful. Let me know how you're feeling. It's day 5. So, feel free to write a comment. Let me know how these practices have landed for you. I know many of you are yoga teachers, and thank you for sharing these practices with your students. A lot of people have been writing me and saying, yeah, I've got new stuff to share with my students. So that's wonderful. I think one of the best things we can do for our students as yoga teachers is help their back feel better. It's like, that's something that yoga can do. So if we're doing that effectively, I think we're doing a good job as yoga teachers. Okay, so a few more things I wanted to make sure I mentioned today. First of all, we have 2 more prizes to give, we have 1 more prize to give away, but we do have a prize to give away today. And I will wait just a few more minutes to make that announcement. I'm looking over here because that's where I've got the name of the person who won today. Sarah, who is on the Subtle Yoga team, was in charge of choosing winners, so I have nothing to do with it, and she just sent me the name of the winner. And we did have to collate all the comments from YouTube and the different Facebook groups and Instagram, and we did that. And so those of you who left comments and tagged friends, and and a lot of people put it in their stories. I'm just super, super thankful and grateful that you're sharing, spreading the word about subtle yoga and sharing this information. So thank you very much. Okay, so we're giving away a silk eye pillow today, and then or yesterday, and then today's prize is my course, which is called the Neuroscience of Yogic Meditation. So how is yogic meditation a little different than other kinds of meditation? That's what you'll find out about in this course. So all you have to do is tag a friend. And if your friend doesn't tag, that's okay. At least we know you tried, because sometimes it doesn't work for whatever mysterious reasons. We all know that social media is a dark science and we don't know how it works, right? So if you try and tag somebody, we appreciate that. So that prize will be announced tomorrow, which leads me to the next thing I wanted to tell you about, which is tomorrow I'm doing a 1-hour Q&A session called Ask Me Anything. I have a bunch of questions here that I got to a few of them this week, but I still have a bunch more to answer. So I'll be talking about these questions. You can also come on and just in real time type in questions. I'll be reading them and happy to answer your question. I'm going to try and do Instagram. No, I can't do Instagram, but I'm going to try and do Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I don't think I can do it. It's just like way too much for me to split my attention between 3 social media platforms, but I can do YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So that's where the Ask Me Anything will be, over on Subtle Yoga with Kristine Weber. If you're watching me right now on Instagram or you're watching on YouTube, well, if you're watching on Instagram, hop over to one of those and I will answer all the questions I can. So these questions could be about the challenge. It could be about low back health. It could be about yoga, yoga for low back health. Or they could also be about my upcoming course, which I will talk about a little bit tomorrow as well. It's called the Neuroscience of Yoga for Low Back and Hip Health. And I talked a little bit about that during this challenge, and the impetus. I'm much more of a mental health teacher. I've been teaching mental health. I do research in addiction recovery, and that's been my wheelhouse for many years. But I also very much love doing structural work. And the thing is that everything's connected, and a lot of times folks who have mental health challenges also have back pain, and that's one of the reasons I decided to do this workshop. So anyway, we'll be talking about all that and more tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Facebook, come and ask me questions and we'll have a good time. Bring a cup of something and we'll have a good time. Okay. And if you can't come live, of course, you can watch the replay. So let's see. I think that's all I wanted to tell you about the challenge and tomorrow. Thank you everybody again who has signed up. Thank you everybody who is here right now. Please leave a comment. It's nice to have you here. And let me know, how are you feeling after 4 days? I want some feedback, like what would you have liked, more of something or less of something? Like, how's your back feel? What do you want to go deeper with? All of those kinds of questions are really important and helpful for me. So let me know. Okay, so we have a few minutes till we get started. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what I did today. I spent the day, it's a little bit tedious, but I spent the whole day on in a conference. It was the annual conference for the Integrative Health Policy Consortium. I am the yoga therapy representative. I represent the International Association of Yoga Therapists in the Integrative Health Policy Consortium. And I spent the whole day with extraordinary people who represent their professions, like the head of acupuncture associations and naturopathic associations, the head of different institutes that teach functional medicine. And the functional medicine people were there. So Really, really passionate, extraordinary, wonderful, driven people that are committed to bringing integrative and holistic care to the populations in the United States. So I got to hear all sorts of interesting perspectives. And I thought I would share with you one of the initiatives, one of the focuses, the policy focuses for this organization is chronic pain. So it's weaves right into what we've been talking about all week, although I've been mostly keeping it on the wellness side of things, stronger back, not talking so much about the treatment side of things of chronic pain. But chronic pain is a very important initiative right now, particularly because for a couple of reasons, but particularly because of the opioid epidemic and all the trouble that we've gotten into in this country with and the tragedy. 200,000 people died of overdoses last year because of fentanyl, largely because of fentanyl and largely because of doctored medication, people trying to get medication for their chronic pain. So, yoga and yoga therapy has so much to offer people in chronic pain. Beyond just the biomechanical stuff, also the sense of community, the sense of coming home to yourself, the ability to deeply connect with yourself. All of that is part of why yoga is so powerful. And yoga is recommended in the American Medical Association's recommendations for helping folks with chronic pain. So it's an exciting time. It's a really exciting time. Things are shifting. And I'll tell you a couple of other little highlights. One of the participants of the Integrative Health Policy Consortium is a very, very well-connected physician who's, kind of in that same tier as people like Andrew Weil and Dean Ornish. He's in that, knows all those people, very, very connected, knows how to work with different organizations. And what he said to me is, which is just so heartwarming. He said, what you have to offer as a yoga profession is a way to help people access their spirituality. And that's what you need to be focusing on. And it just made me feel so excited, just so happy and proud and excited about what yoga can offer people, because so many people feel spiritually bereft and don't know how to connect with their higher selves. And yoga offers a non-sectarian way for us to do that and for us to teach folks how to do that. So it just made my heart sing that he wasn't saying, oh, it's good, there's research for back pain or whatever. Not that that stuff's not great, but he went right to the heart of the matter. He said spirituality. The other highlight I want to mention, and this came from one of the directors of the Holistic Nursing Association, and she not one of the people that's involved in that Holistic Nursing Association, and the nurses are so progressive, And she said that one of the things we really have to focus on right now is health promotion. Health promotion is the public health term for wellness. And wellness is a $600 billion industry that tends to be handled by the private sector, right? So, what if we could bring wellness into policy? What if we could bring this wellness, health promotion, and then prevention? Those are two different categories in the healthcare world, but both of those categories are so important. And then that takes me right back to this lower back stuff. If you are taking care of your back before it becomes a problem, you're going to have so much more success. You're going to be so much more sustainable. Even if your back doesn't hurt, take care of your back. And if you can do that for 20 minutes a day, you're doing great things. And if you can share it with other people and you can inspire other people to spend 15 or 20 minutes of their day taking care of their back, people are going to have better health outcomes, and they're going to be able to be functional and have a higher quality of life, which is what everybody wants. It's what everybody wants, particularly as the baby boomers and the Gen Xers get older, they're going to want this kind of, self-care stuff. So the future is so bright. I know COVID really knocked the yoga industry for a loop, but the future is bright, and there's so much potential for this work. Okay, so that's my little pep talk. I hope that's exciting for those of you who are teachers. And we're just about to get started here today's practice is about the core. And at the core of your core is your diaphragm, right? People say, oh, it's, your transverse abdominis, which it is, but it's pelvic floor, like all that stuff is part of your core, your back muscles, the whole everything. But at the core of the core is the diaphragm, which means breathing is so important for a healthy core, and a healthy core is going to be helpful for a healthy back. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So come on back to your space wherever you are practicing, unless you're already there. I'm going to come back to my space, and we're going to start lying down on the back. And please bring, and as I mentioned, by the way, if you could have a block close by, we're going to use this eventually, so have a block close by. Okay, so bring your feet up flat. And take a moment, especially if you've done the 4 previous practices, the invitation is to just take a moment and tune in. How does my belly feel? How does my low back feel after what we've been doing? How about the sacrum? Let's tune into that. Take a breath or 2 here. And the invitation is to really go inside, visualize the 5 big vertebrae in your low back, how they oscillate with your breath. The breath is the core, the diaphragm that moves the breath is the core of the core. And we're going to begin some movement here now by, as you inhale, starting to create a little bit of an arch in the low back. Could be little or big, and sort of pressing the navel towards your legs, if you like. And as you exhale, push your navel down towards the floor and lengthen your low back. So we're just doing little pelvic tilts here, inhaling forward. Belly can be free. And exhale and draw in pubic bone, navel, solar plexus. Let's do a couple more of those. Just take your time. I love this kind of work. And it's people do it in Feldenkrais, they do it in Pilates. It's just kind of simple work because it helps you to tune in interoceptively to what's going on in your back. Now we're gonna do pelvic clock a little bit. So imagine your belly's a clock, and up at the solar plexus is high noon, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the pubic bone is 6, and then to 9 at the right waist, and then back to high noon. If you're too young for this, like my son would be, then it's just a circle. And we're gonna start by going 3 o'clock to 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So when you rock, you may need to use your heels to do this. You may be able to do it without your heels. It's kind of interesting to try different ways, and don't worry about your breath so much. We're just kind of rocking. Okay, so we did 3 and 9, and then we did 12 and 6. What about if we do 11 and 5? That's a little different. Just drawing 11 and 5 on the clock. Now, of course, you can do it with breath, but I'm just kind of getting the numbers first. And then what about 1 and 7? Is it feeling confusing yet? 1 and 7. Do that a few times. And then how about 10 and 4. 10 and 4. Feels a little different, right? And then the last one is 2 to 8. Just drawing straight lines around the circle. And different, you're dividing the circle in half differently. Okay, and then just go ahead and go around that clock face a couple of times. Just make a big circle. Now, it's interesting to see what muscles you use to do this, because some people are going to be using their feet more. Some people are going to be using belly more, and you can kind of switch it up a little bit. If you're using your feet, then go and see if you can use the muscles in your core a little bit more, change direction. And you can also try playing with your feet more. And believe it or not, there are different ways to do it, because sometimes it's like, wait a minute, how can I do that? And that's the fun of it, trying to figure out how. Okay, so coming back to neutral. Let's take a moment here and notice. And then we're going to take the knees up off the floor for Apanasana, which we've done several times. Hands on top of your kneecaps. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, feel the navel draw in. So you're hardly using your arms at all. You're just using your exhale and your core to work the belly. Inhaling away. And then navel draws in. Knees towards the chest. And using your exhale and using your core to draw the knees in and feel that engagement, right? Feel how the diaphragm helps the abdominal muscles. One more time. Last one. And then pause there. Now, we're going to hold the right knee, and you could do this with your hands around the right knee or underneath if that feels safer for your knee. And then stretch your left leg up towards the ceiling, okay? And what we're going to do here is inhale as we lower the left foot towards the floor. And then exhale as you lift it up. And feel the belly doing the work here of lifting the leg. Inhale, lowering. And exhale as you lift. Now this time, and you're just going to do the regular inhale, lower, but turn your foot out a little. And it'll have slightly different, you'll use slightly different aspects of your muscles to bring the leg back up with the foot out. Do that again. Inhale, lower that down, and then exhale, lift it back up. Good, and then go back to neutral. And bring that knee in towards your chest. So of course we're working the psoas there too, but it's interesting to see if you can kind of work your belly a little bit more. When you're ready, extend your right leg up. You can wrap your fingers around your shin or underneath your left foot. And we're going to inhale as we start to lower. And then exhale and lift. Now, if you feel pain in your low back when you're doing this, then you want to back off. What if you just took your foot a few inches out instead of the whole way down? Exhale up. Now you're going to keep going, but turn the right foot out. And notice what you notice when you turn it out. And use your strong exhale and your strong belly to lift your legs up. See if you can use those abdominal muscles to lift up. Okay. And then when you're ready, we'll bring both knees back into the chest again. You can do a little side-to-side rocking. Okay, and please bring your feet down flat. Okay, so when you bring your feet down flat, just pause here for a moment. Go back to just that inner awareness. Great. Okay, and roll to the side. And we'll use both hands to press back up. And then when you're ready, come on up to all fours. We'll just do a little sunbird to warm up the spine a bit. So inhaling forward, lift your chest and face. Exhaling, lowering the forearms, tuck your chin in, hips to heels. And do that maybe 2 more times. Inhale forward, and then exhale, lower down. Okay, last one. Just notice how your back is moving, how your spine feels. And then what we're going to do from here is slide out onto the forearms and bring your body so you're relatively straight from your shoulders to your knees. And then just lower your pelvis down a bit. Take a breath in, lift your chest and face. And as you exhale, just start to feel the navel moving towards the spine and lifting you up a bit. So in the inhale, we're lifting the chest and face, kind of like a little sphinx. And exhale, lifting the pelvis and the belly, lifting the torso. Inhale, lower. And hey, if you want a little more of a rest when you inhale, you can put your pelvis all the way down the spine. Exhale, lifting. It's also okay if your butt sticks up in the air. That's not a big deal. Inhaling into like a little sphinx and then exhaling, lifting. One more time. You feel some of those muscles working? And then perhaps you would like to move into a child's pose here. If you'd like, you're also welcome to sit up for a moment before we move on. Just take a moment and breathe and notice how your belly feels. Okay, next one is to lie on your side. So I'm going to lie on my right side, but it doesn't matter which side you lie on, and the forearm. And then for this one, if you want to work harder, you're going to press up. So you could press up onto your feet. If you don't want to, totally your choice. I'm not going to today. You could just be lifting up as high as your knees, okay? And of course, if you have shoulder injuries, this might not be the best way. Might not be the best one, right? Okay, so on the inhale, we're going to reach the left arm up as you lift the hips, and exhale, and you can lower that back down, even to the ground a little bit. Gives you a little twist. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, engage the belly as you lower that back down. So this is a version of Vashisthasana. Inhale up, exhale down, which also has therapeutic applications for things like sciatica for some people. Okay, I'll do one more of these lovely reaches. And then release down. You are welcome to rest. Stomach, down dog if that's restful for you, child's pose. You can just lie down on your back for a moment and breathe. And then take one more breath wherever you are. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side. So again, if you had something going on this side, be mindful. It might be too much on the shoulder. So the elbow should be approximately like an inch maybe in front of your shoulder. So not exactly underneath it, because you don't want to be too jammed in, a little bit in front. And then perhaps up on your knees or your feet, it's up to you. We're going to inhale and stretch the right arm up. And then exhale and let it come back down, and the hips can lower as well. Should be comfy, but also feel like you're using some energy. Inhaling up and release back down. Keep going. So there's a little bit of a twist there. Get into the obliques a little bit. And don't forget to engage your belly as you come down. So you're really helping the exhale. Last one. And you're using the diaphragm to help you build some of that core strength. Okay, when you finish that one, please come down onto your back, and you can rest with your feet flat here again. Okay, so we're going to take the arms out to the side, the palms facing down, and we're going to do a twist, although we might not go all the way. You are welcome to have a bolster close by and use your bolster on either side of you to just give you extra support. So take the knees in towards the body. If you want to work harder, you straighten the legs here. Okay, take a breath in. As you exhale, the knees are going to come to the right, maybe about a foot, not much more. Sorry for everybody else in the world watching that I still use the antiquated American system. Inhale back up instead of centimeters. And then exhale, the knees go back a foot to the left. Your head can turn too. So on that exhale, the belly is really engaging. Okay, inhale back to neutral. And then exhale the legs to the right. Maybe an inch or two further. See if you feel that engagement. So you really exhale, draw the belly in before you inhale back up. And then exhaling the knees to the left, drawing the belly in. So each time, keep going. You have an opportunity to maybe go a little bit further, but going all the way down to the floor is not necessarily the goal here. It's much more about the core engagement and how that core engagement really supports the vertebra as you go into the twist. Inhaling up. So some people, if you start to feel pain, by the way, it's too much, so you back off. So some people might just be doing like 6 inches each way. It's totally fine as long as you're feeling the belly doing the work. Okay, last one. But I think we started to the right, so I'm on the right, so I'm gonna do one more. Work in the belly there on the exhale. Inhaling back up. You can even linger in the exhale for a moment. Okay, when you finish the one that you're on, give your knees a hug. Exhale completely. And then release your feet down flat to the floor. So we're going to use the block. Okay, so feet flat on the floor. Arms by your side. Before we go into the next one, just pause for a moment and notice how your breath feels, how your body feels. Kind of tune into this lovely core area. One of my friends is a fitness teacher, and she was telling me about a student who said, you know, you don't have perfect flat abs. You know, you should have abs. You don't have abs. And she said, I have a ton of abs. They're just underneath my life, you know. So, which I love that. I love that anecdote. And I've heard other people say similar things. It's like, you know, sometimes we have some joy on top of our abs, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so for this next one, start with a block on your belly. And we're going to take the block in the right hand. Okay, so take a breath in. And then when you exhale, press your block on the inside of your left knee. So knee and hand press together and feel all that engagement on the exhale. Inhale back to neutral. Okay, and just exhale in place because we're just getting started. Okay, take a breath in. Take the block in your left hand, and you're gonna, on the exhale, press it. So the block presses into the knee, or it's like the inner leg, and the inner leg presses into the block, and you feel all the engagement in your belly, and then release it on the inhale. So I'm using my block like this, but you could use it a lot flatter. I mean, you could use it in any of the positions that you like, right? Okay, so now here's another way you can do this if your shoulders are okay. The arms go up over the head as you inhale with the block. And then on the exhale, press the right arm. You can even leave the left arm up there. Press the right arm, the right hand rather, into the block. Press the inner left thigh into the block. And there's a nice pause there. Then inhale, expand. Take the block with you. Exhale, left hand. Leave your arm up there. And right leg pressed together. And feel the belly really moving, the navel really moving towards the spine, the belly engaging. Okay, so go ahead and put the foot down. So we'll do 2 more on each side, and you can choose. You can have the block on your belly, or you can have it over your head. It's up to you. So breathe in, nice long breath, and then a nice long exhale, right to left. Press and sink that whole belly. And you want to think about it like a lake, like Tadaka Mudra, lake. I wish I had time to teach you Tadaka Mudra, but it takes a while to learn. And then inhaling back. And then exhale, left hand to right leg. So the lake is like the ASIS and the pubic bone and the ribs. You think about that whole abdomen becoming like, you know, almost like a valley is probably a better idea than a lake. Okay, inhale back. Take a rest in between because we've been pausing our exhales a lot. We'll do one more time. Breathe in. And then exhale. And you just feel kind of hollowed out in the belly as you press the hand and the leg together. You feel all that muscular engagement. This, by the way, is really a nice one for folks that have osteoporosis because it's a very low risk as opposed to crunches, which are much higher risk. And then we'll do one more time the other side, breathe in. And then right leg to left and left hand press. And the belly sinks, sinks, sinks. and inhale back. Okay, so again, pause for a moment with your feet flat and just be free. Breathe into the belly, let it all go. You may wish to do a little hug the knees in here, or some people might like to lift the hips up in a bridge. That might feel better. You're welcome to do either. And then go ahead and stretch out. It's time for Shavasana, which means we're right at 20 minutes. And I hope these 20-minute practices have been fun for you and helpful. So thank you so much for joining me for this challenge. Don't skip your Shavasana. Enjoy the end of it. And please leave a comment. And I hope I see you tomorrow. All the best.